Shall I give you a tour of where things are now? So I've put in all the furniture from Ashton Place and Bramble Cottage. This chest of drawers has gone in its entirety, so that needs a new coat of paint. I haven't dressed the bed yet, and the dressing table has come with all of its lovely bits and pieces. So the bedroom is still to do. Got some slippers thrown under the bed there. The landing, you will find pussy mogs all over the place that move around. So this is the sewing table from the kit. That's going to be up there because, you know, she probably does sewing alterations and stuff like that, as you do when you dress with vintage things. The bathroom, loving the bathroom. See if I can move you in. All sorts of details there, lots more to put on the shelves. And I've got a mirror to put up over the sink there. I've got a little mouse to put underneath the bath there. Kitchen, so really pleased with this. This is coming along well. The trolley has gone in there. Not really sure I like that, but we'll work on it. So that's the dresser I made from the kit. And I need to start getting out all my food packets, and I've got some things to go on the walls and some tiles to do. I think I might need to discipline myself and do the tiles first. Having said that, it will probably be done before this video is out there, because it normally does spur me on to do things. So this landing, got one of the chairs from the dining room in the kitchen dining room in Ashton Place. Nice fine detail that fits in well there. And something happened to the back light because it wasn't sticking. So I used some super glue, and I think I don't know, it hasn't worked. So fortunately, I've got the battery operated light from Bramble Cottage, which works there on the desk. This is the living room, coming along beautifully. I've found some of the board games, various books and gubbins to go there. Done the picture rail, piano. I'm going to show you a close-up of the piano. Delighted with that. So I need to make a sofa. Going to make another Knoll sofa, but a little bit smaller than the other one that I did. That's going to be going on my Etsy store. Watch out for that if you want it. This is the shop. So that little desk unit is there. I'm not sure that's going to stay there. I think I need a counter. And all sorts of things have moved in there. That's coming. Lots more to add to that. Under the stairs, you can see I've made a changing room with coat hooks and hangers and a mirror. Lots of plants to make. And this is Madam Ruth. So I've got crystal balls. I haven't done a video to go with those yet for Etsy. And I've got all sorts of potion bottles, which I'll show you in a minute. And I'm really delighted with how that's coming on. It's supposed to be a bit dark in places. Didn't intend for it to be quite so dark in that corner. I might need to rethink that. So at the moment it still shows as the shop is closed. Let's just take you around to this other frontage window. Curtains to make. And if you see in there, it still says it's closed for the Emporium. Absolutely delighted with how that is all coming together. So I can start accessorising it. I'd forgotten that the ceiling light in Madam Ruth is a battery operated one. So I've switched that on just to show you what it's like. I mean, obviously in daylight, it's hard to tell a bit really, isn't it? But it does give a bit more illumination, and there is a light in the tent there. Really pleased with how that's coming on. So this is the first part of the kitchen unit. I bought these two bits separately, bare wood furniture, and painted those. And I knew what I wanted to do. This cooker, which I bought online as well, slightly lower than the units, so I knew I had to do something to raise it up. So I made it as sort of an integral thing. I'll just show you the back. I stuck in a bit of wood there, and I made we didn't have upsplashers, whatever you call them, upboards things, back in the 70s, but anyway, these two have got them, so I've made one on there. And the cupboard's open. I wanted a variety of colours, and the drawers open, and I've lined the drawers with some wallpaper that I had left. Did I do blue in both? I think I did blue in both. Yes, I did blue in both. And the knob colour is the same as on the dresser that I've got. And this cooker fits in there perfectly. Yeah, I've got a little bit of paint smudge there, so something's going to have to go there to hide that paint smudge, because I mixed up these colours, so I haven't got any more. That's the problem when you mix a paint. You get more interesting colours. You're going to stay shut. Okay, doesn't want to. Anyway, when you mix up colours, once they've gone, they've gone. You're never going to get the same blend again. And I made, if I can hold the drawers in, so I put a shiny finish on these worktops, because if you remember, everything was for mica in the 70s, so we didn't have like beach worktops and stuff like that. It would have been for mica and with rounded edges, so these have got rounded edges. And let's pull out the back unit. I'll show you that one. And this is the kitchen sink unit. Now in the 70s we had freestanding kitchen sink units, so they would just slide into place. Now bearing in mind my fridge freezer at the back there isn't stuck into place, so I knew I had a little bit of wiggle room there, but I need space to open the fridge and the freezer doors, so it can't go flush up against this wall here. But I wanted something to fit in that space at the back, so we've got a sink with a bit of a formica-y topped worktop. And I made this, so I bought the mixer tap unit, and we didn't really have mixer taps in the 70s unless they were really flash and grand, so they came in later, but they were available. But anyway, I'd already bought the mixer tap, so I've got a red and a blue dot on there. And this little sink thing, this I got it off my husband's niece, and it's what you get your tomato sauce in at takeaways. I don't do takeaways, being celiac. But anyway, we managed to snaffle one of these empty takeaway pots. So I made this out of wood, fiddle, made it. The first one didn't come out very well at all. And I went over with some, I think the paint is pewter coloured. Got a still, I will include that for you. And with lots of fiddling about, I made the shelf unit, because that had to fit. And the curtains do move to a degree, but I don't really want them to move to a degree. Don't want them to move much, but they will lift up and you can access things. Should do in 3. Yes, they do it in 3. So I put the curtains on a bit of a copper tube, and I already had these little, can I get it in focus? These little brass eye rings. So I used those and then threaded the copper brass wire through. It's brass wire, isn't it, actually? And that's got a little bead at the end. Ooh, get you in focus. That's just to stop it sliding all the way through. But bearing in mind that this end is covered by the unit. But I had this curtain, I've got this in the landing. This is the landing curtain, but I really liked it because it's all like really funky colours, and I thought, yep, that's 1970s fabric. So I thought that will go perfectly under the sink, and then I can use a mixture of colours. I didn't want to be bothered making cupboard doors. I realise that carpentry really isn't my thing. I do get bored with it really quickly, and particularly when it doesn't go to plan. Just shows what my skill sets are, doesn't it? Kitchen sink, work in progress. And this is the paint finish I used. So I've got this little unit. I bought this ages ago, and I think you'll find another video for this. And it was painted a different blue originally. I think we've, yes, lined the drawers. I do like lined drawers. So this is going to go behind the table somewhere, or above the table. So this is what you'd keep your tomato sauce on and all that sort of stuff, and jam and marmalade. So I need to sort out to dress that. I don't really want to stick it up until it's dressed because it's going to be really tricky to reach. But anyway, I'll see how I go. And then I bought as well, at the same time as I bought the kitchen units, I bought this. I do like buying bare wood furniture. See, this is nicely made, and I will replace these brass goldy knobs with some wooden ones, and then I can paint those the same colour. So I'll give this a coat of paint, and this actually is really nicely finished. Lovely detail on there, but that needs a bit of sanding to get that tidier. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this little shelf here, because it's very shallow. It's sort of neither use nor ornament. I might have to find some, I don't know, little pretty things to go on there or something. I can't see that it's much use for anything like jam jars or anything. And I've got some furniture already, which I think I got for miniature of the year before last. Well, not this last time, the time before last. And also I bought these chairs as bare wood chairs. And I wasn't sure about keeping this seat pad. I thought I might change it. But actually now I've painted the cupboards and things in the kitchen, that can stay because it's browns and purples and stuff. And the browns, well, you ask anybody that grew up in the 70s, browns was the thing. Everything was browny, orangey, avocado green kind of colour. So I'm going to paint these. I need to do a bit of tidying up with some sandpaper just to tidy up some of the rough bits. And I might paint those brown and purple in some way to tone in with the kitchen units. So I'm really pleased with those. That is coming on well. I'm really eager to get the bits and pieces out of my stash for pots and pans, and also jars of foodie items and things like that. The only bit of skirting I need to do is here and behind the kitchen table there, and I haven't got enough proper skirting left, so that's just going to be a strip under the kitchen table. It's not going to be this same moulded skirting. It's going to be a bit of a botched job by the builders, you know. Let me show you this piano that I made. Full credit to Julie Warren from Little Bits and Pieces for the pattern for that. Then of course I have adapted it myself because I really wanted the stand and I didn't want to do all the embellishments that she did. And I went wrong somewhere. I painted it in, she did little cutting bits for the black keys and I painted them in, and somewhere I've gone a bit wrong because I've got too many keys left at the end here. So I'm going to put a folder here, sort of that implies it's you know, lyrics and stuff, and I put some marks there. Whereas somebody, if you've looked at old pianos, there'd always be marks there where somebody's put their cigarette down while they're playing. But I'm delighted with that. It was a real fiddle, but she did a fabulous job in making the pattern for that. So that is going there against the wall. Now I want to make, that chair's not stopping, and that's not a standard I'm happy with. That was just a prototype. I need to make a piano stool to go with that, but that can happen later. I think the priority is the sofa, and to start dressing things and make plants. Plants. What have I got on my desk? These signs are going to be going around the walls in the Emporium, and I've got some gold discs and a nod to David Bowie, and this came from Valerie Claire Miniatures with an order, so I'm going to cut up some of those signs. They're sort of like the enamel signs. Those are going to be stuck in the bathroom. Got a bit of gluing to do. Got to glue the valve thing for the radiator, and I need to glue the mirror on the wall. These are some more bottles that I'm making, fairy dust. All of the bottles are having Maggie May on the back as her branding, and also some rainbow dust. Let's move you over very slowly, don't want to make you dizzy. So this is a bottle of Stardust, and this is a product that I've got, that I've bottled up, glued the lids on, and it's ground glass, and you add it to your painting. So when I did acrylic art, you could sprinkle it on and it gives a wonderful shine to it. But I'm mindful that it is ground glass, so you've got to be careful with who gets it. And over on here, so those are the two wall units that I need to put in the kitchen, and I've painted these two chairs. So I've done one brown and purple and one purple and brown. And I have to say, if you've looked at these chairs online, they come as a part of the Bearwood series. They're not great. I mean, they do work as chairs, but they're pretty rough. There's all sorts of snaggy bits that I need to prune off with my blade, and yeah, not a terribly nice finish, but you know, they'll do for kitchen chairs. They'll be fine. But I wouldn't buy these again. I was really quite disappointed. But I've got them, so I'll use them. Anything else? I've scribbled some signatures on these. Let me just show you this. I have got heaps of bits and pieces to put into Maggie's. All sorts of stuff. Look at all this kitchen pots and pans. All sorts of stuff to go in. And if I take you carefully, without making you sick, up to the shelves, these are what I've got spare. So I've got this table, not sure what I'm going to do with that now. This is the bed from Bramble Cottage. That's on Etsy. The settle, that's on Etsy. The big bed, I might use that for displaying things. I've got all sorts of books there. The armoire, still got the bolts of fabric inside there. That's on Etsy. Oh, I haven't put the tea chest on, but the washstand is. And the coal scuttle is. I haven't put my mannequin on yet. That's going to go on, and the little bath is, and I've still got to put the sofa on, but I'm going to hang on to the sofa for now because I'm using it as a template to make the sofa for Maggie's, but it's going to be slightly smaller. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.